Hello everybody, this is Kyra back with another My Porch Prints tutorial, and today we are continuing on with the Jane Austen Junk Journal tutorial. And I mentioned before that I was going to be doing 3 different videos, but now it's actually going to be 4 because I realized I had a lot of decorating footage to go through, so I really wanted to get something out today, so we're just going to be doing the first signature in this video. But if you haven't seen the flip through or the first tutorial on making the cover and these pages for the signature, make sure you check that out as well. And as always, links to all the printables and products used in the video will be down in the description box below. However, if we do happen to miss something, don't be afraid to leave a comment and let us know. To get started, we're going to be jumping into the first signature and the first page with one of our loaded tags. Now we have a floral loaded tag, and we also have a Valentine one. And right here I'm holding the floral one, but I end up swapping it for the Valentine one and using this on the second signature instead, just because I liked the colors for the Valentine one on this page a little bit better. And taking one of the ephemera pieces from the Jane Austen kit, I'm just going to be distressing the edges. Just like that, tearing off the ends, and going in with our Victorian velvet distressing. And then grabbing some of our vintage fussy cut ephemera pieces and a little sort of fabric rose that was given to us by one of our fans from our journal swap that we host on our Facebook page sometimes, and a little bit of washi tape. We're just going to be layering all that up. Oh, I guess I got rid of the rose. I'll be swapping it instead for this little scrap piece of fabric that was given to us also in one of our swaps, and then taking a little bit of lace ribbon and going right along the edge here. And that is going to complete the first page. And if you are worried about how to put these loaded tags together, don't be the come with instructions if you buy the digital, and they are really easy to assemble. Alright, so moving on to our second page here, we're going to be working on a Pride and Prejudice inspired page, and for that I'm going to be grabbing one of the tri-pockets from the kit and putting that down at the bottom. We'll be filling it with several different pieces of ephemera from the kit. And I'm also adding a flower decal to the lace doily. Just sticking it on like that. And for this page, I made this little label using fabric from the cover, like the scrap piece, as well as a ephemera piece from the kit and a strip of burlap ribbon. Going around the ephemera with our vintage photo distress ink. And I also grabbed a couple of journal words from the Pride and Prejudice kit. Or sorry, not the Pride and Prejudice kit, the Jane Austen kit, and went around that as well with the distress ink. Just gluing those down. And adding a couple of pearls to the Elizabeth one. And then for the Mr. Darcy one, I went ahead and layered that over a little strip of canvas scrap paper. Just giving it a bit of texture. And then went ahead and glued everything down, the pocket, the label. And just like that, that page is also finished. Alright, flipping over to the next page here. We're going to be decorating this one with a bunch of different scraps. You may recognize the little Valentine cluster from our Valentine cluster video that we put out a few weeks ago. Also adding just some stamps and tickets from the various kits. A couple of these fabric pieces actually came from Pat Winter, who we did a video with not too long ago. If you might have seen her beautiful journal she put together, some of these pieces came with that journal as just like a little bonus gift, so that was nice. And they were really pretty and I wanted to use them, so I added those along with a bit of washi tape and some like cheesecloth and some buttons and like a little paper clip with a charm on it that was also given to us by Pat Winter. Just a bunch of little things that I kind of was thinking, like if I was Elizabeth or Jane Austen, what would I collect and put in my journal, you know, I don't know, just cute little things. And then going around this little like fabric sticker with a bit of that vintage photo distress ink, just so the white wasn't so stark. And then gluing everything down and adding a couple of pearls. Also adding a Valentine journal word and going around the ticket with the distress ink as well. And that is going to finish this page up. This might be one of my favorite pages, I don't know, I just really like it. Alright, for this next page, when I glued this little ribbon down, I actually glued it down so that it was like worked like a pocket, or like a page band I suppose, and you could just tuck things into it. If you didn't do that, that's okay, you could always add one to the other side and do the same thing. And then just grabbing a couple of ephemera scraps and like a little fabric scrap, I'm going to be using this label from our Shabby Embellishments kit and adding a couple of pearls to it and then gluing it down to hold all the other things in place. And then a little bit of distress ink for this large tag, and that is going to finish up that page. Flipping over, we're going to work on this one. I grabbed this little fabric scrap see-through, it's like sort of a see-through material, and I'm going to be using that in a little bit. And then also taking this Valentine ephemera label and gluing it down just on one little edge of it so that it works sort of like a tuck spot of sorts. And this large tag with the lady on it is something that I will be showing you later because I ended up moving it to a different page, so just ignore that for now. And then taking a tag from the Jane Austen kit and also a label from the Valentine labels kit, which I actually think I forgot to put in this video, but it will be linked down below. So if you are looking for that label, that's where those come from. And then grabbing this little scrap that comes from our Shabby Steampunk journal kit, going around it with the Victorian Velvet ink. And then one of those variety vintage fussy cuts and just gluing that down in the corner. And I did end up swapping out this little picture up in the corner for some of the pieces from the Shabby Embellishments kit. And then flipping over the little piece of paper here, we're going to be grabbing a little bit of Distress Oxide in the color Aged Mahogany. And I'm just going to be using that on this stamp that we have. It's like a script stamp, and just pressing that down on the page. Like this. And if you don't have this, you can of course do it by hand or like tear a script from one of our papers or a book or something and glue that down instead. But if you do have a stamp like this, I will try to find a link if possible to this one that we're using or something similar. I also went ahead and added some ink to it and then dipped it in a little bit of coffee to try to just experiment and see how that would look. And I actually do like how it turned out, although it does soak through the page once it dries. So if that's going to be a problem for you, just keep that in mind. Maybe don't use the coffee if you don't want it to soak through. And taking a fabric scrap and a button, as well as an ephemera piece from the kit, the Jane Austen kit, and some of that washi tape. I'm just going to be decorating the corners here. And then taking one of the tags from the kit, I'm going to be making a bookmark, just real quick and simple. And using a small paper clip to secure it down, and then decorating the back of the tag with a little ephemera piece and some of the Victorian velvet distress ink and a couple of pearls. And I did not love the way that the ink soaked through the back of this page, so I went ahead and covered it off camera using one of the notebook pages, some buttons, and a few ephemera tags from the Jane Austen kit. And then grabbing this fussy cut from our Fussy Cut Florals digital pack, and a small paper clip, like a mini one, as well as one larger one. And then one of the little Jane Austen ephemera cards, and one of the fussy cuts from the Birds and Bees digital fussy cut kit. And that is going to finish up both of those pages. And it is right around here where I was flipping through that I realized that I had a page that was upside down. I thought I checked my signatures and I didn't. So to fix this, I just decided to go ahead and cover up the image that was upside down using this piece of paper that I originally tested my coffee and ink print on. So I just tore off the pieces that I didn't like and kept the usable pieces that I did, and just glued it down on top of the image like this. And then adding a scrap piece of fabric to the edge. Again, the scrap fabric comes from the cover. And I'm going to be using it as like a tuck spot for that card that I showed earlier that we ended up swapping out. And to assemble that, I just grabbed one of the notebook pages and put it on the back of this ephemera piece. And both of these come from the Steampunk, the Shabby Steampunk kit. And I just rounded the corners and glued them back to back, going over them with some distress ink in the color Victorian Velvet. And then taking this little ribbon, like lace ribbon, and just sort of folding it over the top and bottom edges. Cutting off the extra, and there you have it. Nice little note card to write on. And I'm just going to tuck that right in, and adding a small little blue butterfly ephemera piece to the corner to finish it off. Alright, flipping over here to these last few pages. I end up flipping to the very back, but I end up going back a page and adding it to the previous page. But I'm going to be making this little paper clip embellishment, I suppose, like a little paper clip embellishment, yeah. And I'm taking these two little labels that came from the Shabby Embellishments pack that we have, and I'm just going to be layering them up and folding them sort of over the edge of the paper clip, just sort of sliding them in and folding them in half like this. And then I went ahead and glued them down so that they weren't sort of like poking up, you know? Just like that. And adding this little ticket from the Valentine's labels kit. gluing that down after adding a little bit of that Victorian Velvet Distress ink and a small pearl. And then you just clip it on like that, and there you go. And for the last thing, we're going to be, again, using some of those labels and stuff from the Shabby Embellishments kit. And this was made a long time ago from some totally different project that my mom put together. And I found it in the scrap box, so I decided to go ahead and repurpose it by gluing it down along this page. And that is going to finish up our first signature. Mainly for the signatures, just something to keep in mind is I was trying to stay away from any like dark black colors. So we're keeping everything really kind of light and pastel and feminine, and that's sort of the inspiration behind this decorating. So I hope you guys got a lot of interesting ideas, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!